Ladies and gentlemen, we're here for our preliminary working budget for 2022. For those that have never come to attended a budget meeting, this has been duly advertised, and the next meeting will be October 12th at 6:30 here. I would ask that you mute your cell phones and please refrain from texting. Also, if anybody else is recording this other than the borough, if you could please let me know by indicating so. At the end of our discussions, and you will find that we're very informal during a budget meeting, that the public will have an opportunity to ask questions, again as usual, for 3 minutes, but it's topic specific as to something that we talked about here. So if you would refrain from asking any questions until the end of the meeting. We start off, Joe, thank you for the worksheet. I will remind council that any material you get here this evening and at the October budget meeting is a worksheet to be used by council only. It is not for public viewing until we actually have a first reading of the preliminary budget. Joe, do you want to start? I have some additions too.
We're real early in the process. And what I do is the first column is the actual for today. See that. The budget, the middle column is the budget for 2021. And then I have a preliminary budget I'll try to put stuff together for the next couple weeks. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. The income's not going to change that much, so I didn't change it. Right now we're at 7.4 mils. And the mills were at the new reassessment last year. Mills were at $109,000. I assume it's going to be the same thing this year. Coming down. And that's one change. And our trash right now is $245 a year. That's about 800 households. That's the income side. I didn't really change anything else because permit fees go up and down. Later, salaries of our building inspector, health inspector, not health inspector, plumbing inspector, electrician, water and sewer. I don't have the COVID money that you'll receive next year. It's going to be roughly $122,000. That's not reflected in the budget yet. What that is just to highlight some things on the expense side. So what I did was Chief Murray's gets a small increase based on this contract. Patrick, I just budgeted 3%. That's whatever we negotiated. So whatever we got to negotiate. There's no contract going into the new year.
That's correct. We're in the process of negotiations. At this point, I'm looking at 2.5.
Okay, I just threw that in there, but I figured these are just numbers that you have some numbers.
Yeah.
And then I have everybody. I have Linda 3%, Nick 3%, and then the part timers and the crossing guard have 1.5%. That's all based on what everybody wants to do. That's what we did last year. So that's reflected in there. And then also for Ryan, 3%. That's all going to change. That's what I have in there. It's not that you want to see that. It's going to be lower. Now, one of the big issues on the expense side, the MMO increasing roughly. If you go to page 3. Line 410 is police protection, under 410,165. This year, our MMO was $55,314. We'll pay that in September or October this year. Next year, budgeted for our actuary of $118,160. That's due to having an officer go out on disability at a very young age that totally disrupts the actuary. They have to make sure that money's budgeted for all the other retirees. So we took a big hit, Billy retired early. So, and you had to put Bernie out of this place. You had a small pension, but you had 2 people who had full term big one. And the other one, I don't think anybody realizes it is though, trash. Now, we're paying $145 per household for, I believe it's 2 pickups a week and 2 recyclables a month. Okay? And if
Yeah.
you go, I have last year's and this year's respective bid. Your trash is gonna increase roughly, for example, this year, our trash was roughly $122,000 with the recycling for the year. Next year it's gonna be, and you go to 427, which is,
206.
206,000. And that's an increase of about $109 on that trash, keep it the same. That's how expensive trash has gotten. And I don't have, underneath that trash fee, the $206,000 is the dumping fee that the county charges. And that's going up $20 a year for the next couple of years. They'll come out probably in October, I'm thinking another increase. So that 71,000 is going to jump. So the cost of trash is getting really expensive. But I always say that my trash bill, paying $200 and $40 a year for two weeks pickup in the week because it's a steal. You got good trash people. I get the same way where I live. It's my best bill. I get trash pickup twice a week, every week of the year for $200 bucks. Making Burger King. That's a big one. Now and there's also been a request for the highway of a pickup truck or dump car.
The dump bed.
Yeah, that's 19,000. That's reflected on 430, 450 on page 4. Down at the bottom. Now the key, see, the only two issues I really see are we have this preliminary budget showing $164,000 deficit. But there are only two reasons causing that: the trash and the
memo.
Everything else is pretty much in line. You do the salaries any way you want to do them. And then your chief put in for some contracted items as well. You could probably pay that with COVID. You'll also probably have a pretty sizable cash flow for the year. You can start some of that. Along the process, I'll refund some of the expenses. You've done a really good job maintaining your expenses in the line item. And knock on wood, keep doing that way. We haven't had any problems earlier or anything major. And you're pretty much residentially based. You have no industry, and the business is small. Businesses aren't our major businesses. So the residents bear the brunt of the services through the real estate tax. I also kept the contribution to the firehouse the same at $97.5. We made 3/4 payment this year. If the permit fees are up from late, like we have another good year of permit fees, that'll help us. But it's just, going back, like I said, the trash is getting real expensive, because they know where to dump it, and your MMO, which is no fault of anybody's cops get hurt. They want to both run out at young ages. And I'm still waiting, October, we're going to get our renewal for the health insurance. I know it's like 4 or 5%, that seems fairly reasonable in the next couple of years. And then also, our insurances, our workers' comp, our general liability, our crime insurance, property insurance, and our police and public liability insurance. I don't think 2% for it. It pretty much is what it is. Your department heads, the code department, the chief, they're doing a good job. They purchase things, they get stuff that's reasonable prices, and they stay within budget. The council does a great job overseeing that. This has been 3 or 4 years in a row, increase in services, and we're still pretty relatively low on the tax base side, and the trash is low. So it's comes up over $300. And they don't get two pickups a week. I'll open up to any questions.
Well, some of the things you touched base on, and I know I have some other wish lists that I don't think got to you in time. One of them, Harry and I were talking about with Doug before the meeting, and for recreation, we'd like to budget $6,700 for the new year.
I'm at 67.50.
You got it. We'll take the 50.
And we had a conversation earlier, we told 3,500 in the budget was for the rec committee. Am I reading this budget correct? Like, do I have that
No, for
67?
next year.
No, but if you look at what he has listed for next year and what we have budgeted for this year, it's exactly the same. So,
Well,
it's ba- so-
That's what I'm saying, is I'd like to increase,
Yes.
You want to increase it?
I'd like to increase it to 6,750.
You want to increase it from 3,500.
The 3,500.
Go to the next page on page 5.
Right,
It's already in there.
but the conversation we had, if
Yes,
I
because
understood
we
you.
cut the
you-
budget because we did not know where we were
So-
going with COVID, so we brought it down to 3,500.
Right, so for the actual rec committee, if understanding President Percival, only the 3,500 is rec committee on that. So that 3,500 is what we're looking to up to 6,700.
That's correct, for 2022.
You're going to keep using the record 2,500 and 750 for the two. The total, I've always
Yeah, I
used
know.
these three
Yeah,
lines,
she's
and anything
telling me.
that
I know,
takes
this is
the
all I
reservation,
Yeah,
6750 total.
but that'll be
That's the
67.
three line item.
That line is gonna be
I think the
67.
council, I think Harry's looking at the contractual obligations
Yeah,
versus the actual money that goes to the recreation to do community events.
so,
For community events next year, I'd like to see $6,750. Yes, that'll,
okay.
Can we change the name of contracted services to
There's a chart of accounts through the state DC.
You got, he's limited on labels.
Yeah, so I'm not, I usually get off the BCD,
and contributions to the rec board? Who does that go to?
That's like $100 to Brookhaven basketball, library, stuff like that, you do stuff like that, so.
We do $2,500 worth of that?
I budget that, but you sometimes don't even meet.
you
that.
don't use it all, but we
Yeah.
keep it as a safety net. And we
Yeah.
also can use that.
It's like responsibility.
If you look at Parks and Recreation,
We'll do it somewhere else.
Parks and Recreation, don't forget, also includes some of the woodlot if we need somebody down there to take care of something for an emergency. What I'm saying to Perry before the meeting is, the Parks and Playground, if you look at section 45.0.000, that's your budget. That's going to be what you have for events, or whoever the chairperson is, for those events for 2022.
So I don't need to change anything, keep it at 6750, to use off the line.
Yes, please.
20, 35, 25, and.
I'd also like to see that we contribute to the firehouse an even $150,000 instead of 132.
Well, we have a budget of 97.5.
That's right, for next, so can that carry over and increase that
We were talking paying the fourth quarter.
in January?
So, it's still the same 3 quarters.
Okay, you want to keep it that way then?
Unless you want to, you're going to have to, that would be another hit of about 40 grand.
No, we'll keep it as it is.
The fourth quarter payment, the first quarter of 2000.
Okay.
Wait, you want to change from 97.5 to 150,000?
No, that's Mr. Wise.
No,
Just
no,
switch flags.
no, that was. a
You're not
suggestion.
understanding the accountability as far as the last quarter of this year will be paid in January of 2022. So instead of increasing it by 20,000 some dollars, then we'll just stay where it is.
So it would be 97,500.
Yes.
Okay. And so, I still don't know where that number came from last year as to how it was determined. But that's what the fire company needed. Like, how do we know? I mean, is that what the fire company needs to survive? Like, how do we know what the fire company needs? I was excluded from a meeting last year, and I still...
No, you were not excluded from a meeting, you were unable to attend the meeting.
We're away.
You were away on vacation, I understand.
Right, and I was trying to participate on the phone, so...
And the
I'm-
fire company made it known that that information was privy to those in the meeting because of the ambulance service being pulled out, and their finances, other than tax dollars, are their responsibility and their information. So if you're going to state something, please state it accurately.
Okay, well, I feel like I was...
We
excluded from the meeting.
we had the meeting, which you could not attend because you were on vacation, and we came up with the sum of approximately $132,000 to be able to help the fire company stay in business. This would include paying for their utilities, repairs on the fire truck, a basic round figure that also alleviated any of their ambulance problems so that they no longer have a payroll for the ambulance. They don't have the income from the ambulance either. So that was a figure that was proposed and was reasonable.
So what is the fire company's total budget?
The income that we give to the fire company totally is $132,000.
No, it's $97,500.
No.
She's looking
No,
at the
it's-
total.
Let's start with, how about if we break it down by quarter? We give them $32,500 a quarter, correct?
Yeah.
And that's what we send them at the end of each quarter. The end of 2021's quarter, because we will be short on funds at the end of the year, will be given to them at the beginning of the new year.
Reflected in next year's budget.
So it is changing from $97,500.
It should, I'm gonna keep pushing the cord. Fourth
Does
quarter
somebody
will
else
be the
wanna
first
try?
quarter of the new year. So I'm
You
gonna
get-
pay
you-
3
It's
quarters
just
of
So,
that.
carrying over.
Scott,
You're carrying
I-
that
It's
over
carrying
into
that
the
over.
next
Yeah, I got
year.
it.
It's like your
So you-
family budget.
we're making the 4 payments,
Right.
but we're pushing that one into the 4th quarter. We're going to keep doing that.
Forever.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about forever.
But-
If we increase it to 150,000, then that's going to make an increase on the budget of approximately $20,000. So if everybody is in agreement to keep it as is, then we'll keep it as is.
I don't know, you maybe didn't use COVID money for that too, for capital.
I'd rather see the COVID put into the account in case we need it for something,
Yeah, we have it, but I mean,
like
it's,
Edgemont Avenue.
yeah, I hate to see all of it.
Right.
Another thing that I have, we already have 18,000 in for the highway, for the truck bed, as, Joe, I don't see
I had
those.
19.5, I kept the 1,500 I budgeted last year, and we had an 18 on page 4, 432.50.
Okay.
He has a bold face.
Just so everybody knows, we've been budgeting for the bed for the dump truck for 2 years. We keep pulling it out because we didn't want to, we had other expenses to deal with. So that's in there. We talked about this as to the woodlot, Joe. I know you have the park and recreation contractual services, but I really think that we need to be at $10,000. We have $4,000 for an emergency tree removal this summer. We're contracting with a company to spray for lantern flies that are polluted down there. So I think a $10,000 increase for the woodlot maintenance is a good start. And then that's something we can use next year's summer COVID money to go back in and clean out the woodlot with the
So I had
vegetation.
additional 10 grand for woodlot maintenance.
I would give it at 10,000 tops.
Okay, so just add 30, just increase the 67.50 I have from 10 grand. Okay, and that additional 3 will be.
Right.
So that leaves 7,000 for to fix up the lot.
If we have to, we still have about 2,000 we can work with.
Okay, hold on. I might be mishearing what you're saying versus what she's saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that you want the
Contractual
total to be 10 grand the total. That would be, I'd add an additional $3,250 to get 10 grand total. Are you saying?
She wants 10 grand just set aside for the woodlot, so it'd
Just
be.
contractual. 10
So,
grand.
so that's 10 on top of,
6750?
Yes.
All right, okay, got
The
it.
6750, and maybe we can break this down a little bit further. The 6750 will be next year's chair's budget for recreation.
Yeah, I can actually put the.
You want to add a new line item?
Yeah, I can do that. I'll add another line item for parks and playgrounds, do a lot. Expect I'll do that.
I think that would be a
Okay.
logical idea.
Yeah, so I'll do that.
because it sounded like, I was just wanted to clarify, because it was like two different things on the 10. Okay.
I'll add the 10 for the others.
Yeah, the woodlot's getting really beat up. I think it's time that
Oh,
we
definitely.
invest into it. We keep boasting how Parkside's got the woodlot, and we have the new Ford Fitness Trail
Nick,
going.
did Jim get
And
this?
hooked up to Chester, I think we really need to just fix it up as best we can.
I mean, like I said, you got COVID and we have cash balance, so you have money to do it.
And just so council's aware, Chief Murray put in a budget for a total of 21,000. This does not include wages. He's looking to get a DMS software for managing policies, training, interdepartmental communication, access control software, hardware for the police department, upgrade the camera system. He's also adding some fixtures for the holding cell to make it in compliance with the certification that he's into.
Data accreditation stuff, and I have that reflected.
You have that?
410,750 capital purchases, that's in 25,000. I had 25 this year, and we didn't spend it, it's up like to 25.
Yeah, they did not spend. They've controlled their budget amazingly well.
And we should see a drastic drop in our workers' comp too. We went through those cops being out for a while, our rates went up the last couple of years with cops not being there, that our rates have been very good, nobody's gone out on comp, so I should drop down from 60,000, just wait for the number from the insurance company.
We did very well on our workers' comp. We actually received a refund.
Yeah, exactly.
So we did very well, very well. The other issue I have, did you get the fire marshal?
Just got it. now.
Okay. So, the fire marshal, budget, and emergency management and health inspector are all combined. So Joe's got a copy of that. Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far? On council, any councilmanic questions?
Do we have a line item for staff training,
Yeah, well,
staff development?
there's a lot, I have a couple accounts, like for administration, for example, which is on page 2, 400. Miscellaneous administration expenses, I budget 2,500, you can use that there. There's no specific line item. That's why there's a miscellaneous, there's things that can't be classed, so you can plug something like that in there. And it's gonna be more than $2,500, you have to adjust the tax out all that. So that's our, the police have line items for training and stuff, so our administration can go through.
But for training borough council members, new staff?
Oh, that, we have dues and subscriptions in there, because you guys, we belong to the Boroughs Association.
Right.
So they have all kinds of programs, and that's reflected in 420 for $1,000. And you get the magazine, you contact them, and they're very helpful. You can ask on the website, and they give you a lot of information on it. And the council people too. Education plan.
And a lot of PSAB classes and webinars are all free,
Yeah,
so you have to check their schedule.
It's a great association.
So $165 is the dues.
No, that's
No,
what, that's just,
that's what's been
just what we paid for, anything that dues and subscriptions you belong to, it's focused in there. So that's all we paid so far this year, because of the COVID and stuff hasn't really opened up at the state level as much. That's all I spent so far. That's memberships, the mayor wanted to join the mayor's association, it's like $60, there's different types of groups where you get information. And I do that up to wherever, subscriptions, the borough's newsletter, stuff like that, I think they're like $50 a year. You just ask Linda, she probably has the number and everything for the borough association.
And then staff development for code official borough secretary, that's all in the same.
With the borough secretary, if you wanted to do staff development, we reflected that as miscellaneous item, there's no specific line item.
Yeah.
And then for code, which would be 413, chart of account numbers, they also have a miscellaneous public safety thing there, if they need to get certifications, it will be reflected there, and that's $5,500. That's a bunch of things, different things. That's just, when you say miscellaneous, it's just stuff that can't be classed in those line items. So it's like in there, and I can always give you a general ledger of miscellaneous accounts, if you want to know exactly what they are.
Well, let me interject with that code official stuff. Everything I had for the last six years, I paid for myself. For the simple reason is that I wouldn't want the taxpayers paying for any of my certifications and then I'll just get up and leave and go somewhere else. So that's why I do it myself. Yeah, I got like 5 certifications in there. I'm a professional. Yeah.
And our inspectors, they do their own, and another municipality in which their employee pays for theirs. And there are occasions where they will ask us to pay for a class, but they've been very generous to us.
Our electrician is not an employee, so he's got anything, he's got a subcontractor who pays for all.
Does anybody else have any questions so far?